Okay, here I am about to play Purgatorio, the, sixth in the Men of Iron series. I've been along for the ride since the beginning. No tri-pack for me, man. But this is kind of interesting. This is Guelphs versus Ghibellines situation. I have another game that covers some of these battles by Europa Simulations or whatever, over there, next to Men of Iron, actually, which I remember liking a good deal. I peeked over the rules of it a little bit. It's somewhere between the Men of Iron and Great Battles of History. It's got like cohesion hits and stuff. It uses, similar to the two systems, no real game turns, whatnot. I do remember enjoying it, but it could just be, hey, it's another take on things. Also, on the same subject matter, period, whatever, I recently played Inferno, which is the Levian campaign game that covers a slice of one of the Guelph Ghibelline wars. I'm not going to do an intro to the whole thing, which is why I'm going into a little bit of this in a battle one. Men of Iron as a whole, the series is kind of, I don't know, certainly by Norman Conquest, maybe the tri-pack, since Berg's leaving this mortal coil, it's kind of bloated a little bit. One of the things that was sort of charming about it was what a light system it is, and that's why I like things like Simon Says, because it's an even earlier, lighter version of it. I think it's a fun system and everything, but the rule book has gotten relatively thick and everything. We're at 28 pages now. Some of it is nailing things down more. Some of it is all the different games. Everything except, which is the one they left out? Arquebus, which is really moving into kind of a weird period, although I think there's some gunfire. There certainly are some gunfire units in, Blood and Roses over there. But all the others are included in this single rule book with, like, little colored things to indicate which rule set they use. Some optional rules and everything have been added. Some of it is, look, it's covering a big slice of time, and in particular, like this, is covering a couple hundred years. A lot of them do. So techniques have differed. The original Men of Iron was really kind of focused on the rise of infantry in the medieval era. Whereas this is going to be more focused on, I think, more cav battles and whatnot. This particular battle is Legnano. I don't think I have that in the Guelphs and Ghibellines. I have to constantly check. There's like 3 battles in that. This is covering, I know Benevento is in there. It's covering 7 battles. I don't know how much overlap I have. Let me check. Yeah, so all 3 of the battles covered in this game are in the Purgatorio box. So you get if you're interested in having more battles, this is certainly more economical. I really did like the take that Guelphs and Ghibellines took though, and I think I favor it more than the Men of Iron series. Part of it, and this is why I'm a little like a little weird about whether I'm grumpy or not about Men of Iron kind of turning more, more complex and less, what it initially was, is I kind of like sort of the more Great Battles of History style of game in a lot of ways. And it feels to me like, oh, look, they took the medieval period and it's a little less, it's a little less enchanting to wargamers or something along that lines, appreciated. And so they went with a lighter rule set with it. I do like both. I kind of feel like Men of Iron is what Great Battles of History Light should have been. But they wanted to make a rule set that used the counters for Great Battles of History. Not all of them, but that could use the same counters. And actually made what I think is a more a game that's as complicated as the standard Great Battles of History. So just a little smoother playing. I kind of liked where Guelphs and Ghibellines went. Kind of take that Men of Iron type spirit and up it a little bit more, and in a way that's what's happening, but it's happening in a different sort of way. It's happening with just like more chromey type stuff, less having to do with the system itself. Again, this thing has cohesion hits. Men of Iron does not. It's going to be a little painful for me to play. I played Norman Conquests, I think last year, maybe the year before. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly when, but even so, even though I read the rules of this again, I am feeling kind of fuzzy about it, and I know I'm probably going to screw some shit up. That's okay. I do like coming back and revisiting systems and getting, I just wish that there had been a little bit less time, but I don't know. I don't know if it would have helped. I'm generally best when I play a system, and I can keep it in mind best when I'm playing it, and then the next game in the system I play is not too long after, within a couple of months. Otherwise, my poor brain can't handle it. Anyway, I'm going to walk away for a while now. No, we're going to introduce this one. So Legnano, we got Barbarossa coming down, and as the Ghibelline side over here, he's made a charge against some Milanese forces. They kind of ambushed him, sort of, and he decided to make the attack anyhow. Instead, we're going to have, there are a few interesting things. So it's mainly a cav battle. This is all cav here. There are infantry lines with both forces. The German or Imperial infantry is pretty crappy. The Milanese are in better shape. They have pavises on them. They shouldn't. They should have shield walls. There were shield wall counters in at least Norman Conquest, I think, that look like this. They weren't included in this game. A whole shit ton of blank counters were. Again, this is the feeling of GMT's kind of not on the ball the way they used to be. Their quality control is going down. Another thing I'm noticing, and I think this is just me, my eyesight, but I'm having a hard time reading the counters, which may mean I need to go get glasses again. I've been having trouble reading and stuff, so I think, these are glasses I got not long after my wife died, so it's been about 5 years. I probably need new ones. Feels weird because I only just started wearing them. And we got a Caroccio under one of these. That's gonna, have we had those before? I think so. I know we had them in something. And I think it was either Norman Conquest or this. Let me take a look at where their rule is. They're going to be in special units. I'll be back. They're new for Men of Iron. So the Carroccio is a wagon with symbols of the city and an altar. Blah, blah, blah. Before the battle, the priests would hold a mass there. It's a marker rather than combat. It must be stacked with a pike unit from its side and moves with that pike unit at all times. These guys don't have a leader, so they're probably not going to do much movement. They are allowed to, but only on a free free activation, not continuation. Including advance after combat. If the pike is eliminated and an enemy unit doesn't enter the hex, a friendly pike can move in and take control of the Carroccio. If an enemy unit does enter, it's captured and removed from play. The pike unit stacked with the Carroccio. Retreat results from fire, shock, or charge, and retire results from fire, shock, or charge do not apply, and it can enter and leave shield wall. Now I'm using those pavises as markers for shield wall. Again, there's no markers for it in this one. There's dice for this one. I hate, like, I want to steal the dice because these are colors I don't really have, but I really hate, like, taking the dice when they're kind of rare colors. You know, it's like, yeah, these fit with this game. Oh, I hate doing that. So I don't know what I'm going to do. The flight levels are the Guelphs have 25 flight points. The Ghibellines, they're really Germans. There's not much Italian in here, are 20. And they, the Ghibellines are timed, which means if the Guelphs get a free activation and pass it, that marks off a time marker. If it goes down to 0, the Guelphs win the game. So it's forcing Barbarossa to do the historic attack that he did. All right, now we're going to pause, I think. We got some, we have a little bit of interesting information here. So we have Alberto de Giussano, who they mention, it appears that he never existed, but has become an integral part of the story. The researchers insisted on putting him in. He's got a special rule for him, this non-existent guy. During one of his activations, if he's not been replaced, all units of his battle can be rallied. This occurs at the same point that an active player would have the opportunity to play Battle Cry or Unsteady Troops. Oh, I didn't mention that. We've got seizure counters. I don't know how I feel about them. The original game, you could seize whenever you liked, but now they've added these seizure counters in. And I kind of don't know what that impacts, like, the older games. They may have been modified for the tri-packs to use these seizure counters. They make it a little less ping-pongy. I don't know what to call it. There's like this weird randomness in the original ones where you're constantly able to jump in and try to take control of something. But now with the counters, it's a little harder. And you may not have very many. Like, having seizure counters, they're random event counters. Not all of them allow seizures. Anyway. To play Battle Cry or Unsteady Troops, i.e. before any units moves or fires, but after the non-active player plays the above seizure counters. Each of the units in his battle rallies from being retired or from disorder, even if that unit is adjacent to an enemy. All of the units can then move and attack in the shock phase without penalty during the activation. That's a neat little ability. Especially for somebody who doesn't exist in the battle, supposedly. The terrain's pretty flat. Anything else exciting here? I don't know. But again, I'm going to have to kind of fight with the rules because this is my first playthrough in a while. I'm not reading the rules aloud to you guys again, so I don't get my second reading. Of course, the game comes with all the player aids. Are they different now? No. You have a terrain chart for this? I mean, there's almost none. There's woods. There's a little woods line that you're pretty much not going to use. All right. So back up here, same day, Monday. I think it's hard for me to keep track of days. But it's very, very difficult for me to get into starting a new game. And not having gone through the rules and everything just makes it harder. I know I'm going to have to work through them a little harder than I usually do. I got some coffee running that'll help a little bit. It's not like I've done anything else today. One thing that I'm trying to do, since the last video game thing that I posted, I started another one a long time back, and I'm really hating playing it. And I'm just like, so I'm trying not to do that. But I end up finding other ways to just sit in front of the computer and not get anything done. I think the Ghibellines go first, which is the Imperial troops. There are no army commands listed in this, and I think that's the thing. It's like all this stuff, can I just move my whole force? Yeah, I'm not sure. Is that something that's per scenario or not? That didn't used to exist in the game, but now it does. And there's a lot of crap like that that's present now. That has restrictions on it. Anyway, I'm not gonna bother you too much with my rules lookups, but they're gonna be there and they're gonna be heavy. So like army activation, it's listed over in the sequence of play. But it's not listed here. This talks about battles and whatnot, only in the Blood and Roses. I think it was special for that. But again, it would be easier to have like a standard rules and an exclusive rules rather than all this like interleaving all kinds of crap in here. I try not to look at stuff, but some of the stuff refers to this in the sequence of play and whatnot. It just doesn't work. I understand with the tri-pack why it was done, maybe to keep the rules down to, one booklet or whatever. I don't know. I caught myself I hadn't set up my chits yet. The Guelphs, I have to check because I can't remember the Guelphs are purple, have more chits. They have 4. Now, I don't remember. This is used against the enemy. I don't remember what some of these are used for. This one is a seizure, with all the puns about seizures. Here I have 2 seizure opportunities for the Ghibellines, but I don't think they're really Ghibellines. They're Germans. They're Imperials. They even go into somewhere here. The Guelphs tended to be further away from the papacy and closer to the HRE, whereas the Ghibellines tend to be further away from the HRE and closer to the papal temporal power. Oh no, the Ghibellines. Okay, so yeah, the troops. So geographic position put them at odds with the force they were looking at. So yeah, okay, it does work. But anyway, while I was grabbing those, I had a few confusion issues, but I found, what is this? I don't know what that's used for. I have one of these. This Ghibelline current flight level, I don't have one for the Guelphs. And I mean, I just punched these counters, or no. No, I did not. But I'm assuming I didn't lose them. I have lots of blanks and everything in play that I fished out. It's just weird. Like, again, it's as if the counter mix didn't come with everything it could have, but came with lots of blank counters in it, which really weirded me out. I thought those were used along here, but maybe that's used in a specific scenario and I just do a countdown. Remember, there's a die roll, but that's okay. I can do countdown better. I'd rather just have one counter for each, to be honest. and add the die. But anyway, we advanced here. That means I've got a chance to get a continuation. 1 through 3 on that. Here's the question. Do I want to use my 1 seizure to activate this first to try to get, and the answer is no, definitely not, because I can't do a continuation with this. So I'll be doing a continuation up with Barbarossa. I can't remember what zeros are. Those zeros. Okay. And I don't get it, which means we go to a free activation over here. Now, the thing that I've learned throughout these games is that this timer, man, it works if the enemy doesn't do anything, if they just refuse to attack. But if they're willing to start positioning themselves and get into range, you really kind of want to do stuff. I gotta get me my coffee and switch pipes. Those familiar with the game will note that I fucked up and moved these guys close enough to be in charge range. I'm still gonna get counter charges against them and whatnot, but yeah. Is there reluctance here? Yeah, I see something like that. I'm like, oh yeah, do I have to worry about that? No, they're not pikes. But, but they're just not allowed to, right? Oh no, they use a table. Okay, fair enough. The game works always feels a little weird to me. I like get used to it, but so I've got this charge coming here. 2 of them got counter-charged here and here. So they've got shock markers. But this guy's attacking this. This is attacking both of these. This is attacking both of these. This is attacking both of these. It's just the way the game works. And all the combats are handled kind of at once. I don't know. I didn't have a way, like, you can't really charge and get a flank or anything particularly easily. And that could still be countercharged, so it's not that huge a difference anyway. But, well, you'd have to present a flank at someone. And now I go through the complexities of how many units are hitting each and whatnot. And that's kind of weird because the attacker gets to put 2 units against 1. But I think the defender is always going to be a single unit in this case. There are some cases where you're attacking 1 to 2, but the way this works, I think it's all going to be, except for here, 2 units against 1 attacks. The fact that I got to go through multiple attacks against, I have to attack multiple units, could break things up a little bit. I'm going to try to make sure that I've got that right, but that's what it reads as. I don't remember being this confused before. Something I forgot about there. All shock charges must be attacked. Active units listed as attacker, blah, blah. If they do so, they must shock all enemy units that are in their frontal hexes unless those units are being shock charged by other friendly units. So it is all a bunch of 1-to-1 attacks, which makes me a lot happier. Okay, so this is what we see, a bunch of units engaged. We disordered everything that we hit. But we're in kind of a annoying position where we're like showing a flank there. Now we get a continuation check. I think I want to move these because it's easier. If I get the continuation here, I get the possibility of a continuation back over with this set, which I'd really like. I don't get it. He could have tried to interrupt it. That's going to put me at a free activation over there. I'm going to pause here because it took a lot to go through the rules, make sure I was getting things right, and I wasn't in a couple of cases, but fixed it. Yeah, it was definitely a mistake to move within charge range, which is really 3 hexes away. I thought it was full movement point. I don't know why, because there's a lot of games where Cav can move their full movement allowance if they're charging. It's just so horribly easy for me to get sucked into something, and I wasted like 7 hours. Whatever. Anyway, I want to pay attention to these. I have Battle Cry, Into the Breach, and Uncertain Troops. I never remember these things. I think I don't mind the seizure and anti-seizure. It's these other kind of random ones. They don't add that much to the game. I understand the desire to make seizures less of a thing in the game, although I think it worked fine with them there. But now I have to fucking look for where this is. My eyes barely work. But I don't even know where it is. What are these fucking called? Well, they're not there. Whatever they're called. They're called seizure. 6.3, 2.4. Yeah, there we got the options. All right, Battle Cry is rally a unit, a retired unit. Unsteady troops or confusion. I only have unsteady troops here. I don't know. That's disorder a unit. Okay. I have Into the Breach. Yeah. That's a bonus on an attack. Okay. Which I probably should have used in the initial. So we're up on this side. He gets to choose what to do first. And I can't remember what is desirable in this system. Like, I know quite often one wing ends up fighting all the stuff. Obviously, I don't want to pick Barbarossa because he has a chance of getting a better chance of getting continuations than my other leaders. I don't think there's much advantage to moving these guys forward, which means this wing is sort of the default. And what I want to do is be able to rally it. Now I have to try to remember, I'm going to have to play lookup game, which I've had to play all along, but now that I've been away, I'm less in the mood for it. I have to play the lookup game to see, I don't think I can rally units that are adjacent to somebody. And then there's special rule for, who is it? Giussano, who is purple. That's Guido. I don't know. I don't see him. Fuck. Alberto Giussano. So that's this wing. I shouldn't have walked away as soon as I did. And certainly shouldn't have gotten myself hooked into something that ate up 7 hours, right? And it's so often the case. Especially this wouldn't have happened if I stayed with my video game. That has a sort of a pulsing to it. I don't play a lot of it. But instead but either one would have been okay. If I played a little bit more, I'd be more comfortable with the system. If I was doing something where I didn't get sucked away for so goddamn long, I would be coming up more often, which is what I thought I was going to do. But then I remembered, I'm not playing that. Okay, I'll go look for something else to play. And I found something that's not one of these sort of, you can play for an hour or two and then you have to stop. The activation, I pull back, and I pull this guy back too. All those engaged, they just need an extra movement point. There's one movement point for moving out of... They make this big deal about the game has no zones of control. They feel like zones of control in every sense of the word. They just don't feel like zones of control in a tactical game in quite the same way. There's no forced combat or anything, but they have an effect and adjacency that's the same way. I don't know why they changed the definition. The old Men of Iron had zones of control. This, they make a big deal about it doesn't, and then they have something that sounds a lot like a zone of control. Now, the hard call for me, if I wanted to seize, this unit could really kind of rack up some hits, probably, on all these disordered units. However, there's the fact that chances are he's going to fail his continuation. And even if he gets it, this isn't going to get a second move very likely. So I'm going to hold. I only have one seizure. This doesn't feel like a vital enough time for it. That's the kind of reasoning I feel like I have to make in the game constantly. And I'm going to have to constantly look up the ones that aren't seizures, because I've already forgotten what they do. So I'm going to trigger Barbarossa if I can. And I get him. Now it's too late. I can't seize it. Barbarossa's moved forward, refused the flank with the infantry there, brought more power in to try to hit these units that are in the front. Because these guys haven't advanced yet. They're not in the battle yet. That moves this from 0 up to 1. That means if I want to make another continuation, it can't be off Barbarossa. I want to do it off him, but I have a much, much lesser chance. I'm going to let him roll again on that. Because again, I only have one seizure. This just doesn't feel like a vital time to use such a limited thing. And now I get a free activation, and I get to smack that anyway. He does not get any opportunity to come back at me. Something I forgot about. 1, 2, 3, 4 of these are gone. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to just use the flight points as a positive, These recover when he rallies, but he may not get that opportunity. No. It's retired units that cost 1, not disordered. I'm pretty sure. Oh, most of these are not in charge range. Now, these disordered units can't countercharge, so shocking them is okay. This guy is able to do a free move and a charge, which I'll get him an attack on that unit. Overall, it seems pretty good. I got to think about where I want my leader to be, because he gets a +1 on attack only. It's hard to remember. You don't move charging units. Like, he declares his charge. You can move them, then they get, like, I don't think there's a special marker for it, moved then charge or something. I get these. Say, like, charge no move. I don't know what the fuck they're for. Because I have these, which say charge. I think I may have mentioned this before. I'm not convinced that the counter mix, like the informational counters, are right anyway. That's an example there that they just kind of don't feel right. But anyhow. But these guys can't charge. They're too far away at this point. Counter charge was successful. Put this back here. It's so fiddly. It's useful as you build up multiple continuations, but it's so fiddly to remember to flip it each time, whatever. The one counter charge actually worked, and so we've just got shock across the board. I've got counters that might help with this, and I think I do want to use them here. Probably on this. Now, I have to look them up again, because I can't for the life of me remember that one aspect. And I don't remember where it is. It's in seizures. I think it's the rule 6 something. I did look it up. There we go. Here are my chits. So I look again. Battle cry is recover. Unsteady troops is disrupt. I could have played that before the charge and broken that up. I didn't do it. Into the breach is the one I want to do. I'll play that here to give him a bonus. The units are all mounted men-at-arms. I'm not really using, this is something I like. It reminds me of the great battles of history, but it's much, much simplified, just because there aren't a lot of different types of units in this. But mounted men-at-arms versus mounted men-at-arms is a 0. I think everything's a 0 versus its own kind. These can't attack, and these can't attack. Fair enough. I just wanted to make sure that there's nothing that has an advantage on attack against its own type, which sometimes happens. You have that in GBOH. I don't think it exists here. Obviously, it doesn't exist in this one, which means it doesn't exist, well, which doesn't mean that, because these charts could be different for each system. Unit types not listed cannot shock, attack, or charge. Okay, fair enough. It kind of pisses me off. SPI used to always do this. Anything, any chart should have a rule reference to it. In SPI, it tended to reference into something that didn't exist. Like, it would say something like, you know, I don't know what leader casualties are, but it would say something like, you know, 6.3. And 6.3 would say leader casualty chart, see charts and tables, or something like that. But it would give you the section, the main number, and put you close to where the explanation of how to deal with it is. See? I remembered more or less where leaders were handled, and indeed the leader casualties are there. But there'd be no reason not to put a 5.4 on this. In fact, if I was a clever person, I would be marking up my rule book with reference, my chart with references all over it, just so that I have them for other times. Hell, I don't care about resale. I'll do that. The units were engaged, but we got a continued attack coming from here. We hit where the leader was, hit him again, got a retired. The leader himself isn't retired, but I'm leaving the marker on top of both of them. The leader, of course, had to make a leader loss check. Wasn't affected by it. Now I get a continuation. This is my easiest continuation. Actually, it's not. He's shitty. This is my easiest. Maybe I just want to go with that. I was kind of iffy about the idea. See, the thing is, this guy can kind of support that wing, whereas this guy can't. I'm going to go all the way over here, even though, because I don't have my minuses here. We don't get it anyway. That puts things over here. And now we got more problematic situations for the Barbarossa. This, you can see what a huge mistake it was to move within charge range in this scenario. When you have just mounted men-at-arms hitting mounted men-at-arms, it's a bad thing. Like, that probably has just cost me the battle, and I'm fine with that. Again, there's quite a few battles in this one. This one's a fairly, in this box, it's a learning experience. And yeah, I kind of like to see the ugliness happen. I woke up relatively late to find that here, it's on my birthday, I just got invited to a surprise party because the person I was going to celebrate with tomorrow, her boyfriend is setting up a surprise party for her. So we share the same birthday, and so it's kind of cool. But we'd moved the day that we wanted to do it to tomorrow because the restaurant we were going to go to is not closed, is not open today. So that's cool. But it does mean that, like, after a night of basically wasting all my effort, like all my time on like not getting anything done and waking up late, I'm like, oh, today I'm not going to get anything done either. I am going to play a little bit. Just to keep a little bit of a hand in. Maybe I get done with the scenario. I doubt it, though, because I only have like an hour before I have to get ready, although I am getting picked up. The basic problem is that initial mistake that I made, I almost have to activate this command again to recover units. Problem is, this command is pretty much wiped out. But the reason I say I almost have to is because of the points I'm losing for, not the disordered unit, but the dead unit, the retired. I could activate the standard. That would get the retired unit into play. Or I could activate Barbarossa, which isn't a horrible idea. He's not going to be able to swing around and do much. He might be able to hit the standard. That doesn't do a lot either. It just displaces it. If there were retired units near it, it would have some effect. I've kind of got no answer with the Imperials here. I don't know what to do. I think I'm actually going to move these guys forward. I don't know. I mean, this could at least relieve some pressure. God damn. Fuck. Yeah, because I won't be... He could attack, but not charge. Oh... But he could charge after movement. You are allowed to do that. Oh boy. I don't know what to do. Decided to activate Barbarossa, turn and charge there. But the charge after movement, again, the counter mix hasn't, it hasn't caught up as well as it should. There are things, like I said, that don't feel like they have a real purpose. I'm trying to remember what they are. This charge, no move. I think this had a purpose at one point, but the no move, no fire is fine. But this feels like it's the same as this, whereas what I should have is a charge and a charge with the penalty for moving. I can use the charge no move markers, I guess, for that, even though they say the exact wrong thing, but I can't figure out what their purpose is otherwise. Because I'm thinking about launching an overall attack on this. Try to break this up, and as well as doing some damage back here. Post contact, this is what we see. This guy is going to be out of command, but I really wanted to do some pain there, and I'm bringing a bunch of these. But now it's time for all the counter charges. I gotta look up about engage, see if that, yes, that is gonna prevent a counter charge because he's adjacent to an enemy unit. So, and this is where some of these come into play. So like counter charge used, that makes sense. Fired, I guess if you're moving a lot of archers at once, it's of some value to mark which ones have already fired, but generally, like, for most things, that means they fire at the end of their movement. So why don't we just have a moved marker? Yeah. There's a couple of exceptions. Horse archers work a little differently. The continued attacks are fine. These things, the no move, no fire, I'm trying to remember what that comes from. I don't even know if that has an effect. I can't remember anything. And the charge no move, I've got no idea as well. Except that that's the charge counter that you normally use, right? Without the move penalty. But I think things have changed significantly in the rules, like maybe you could charge adjacent or something in the original rules. But whatever, they have not updated the counter mix. And, you know, it's not horrible, it's just, it's confusing, I think, to newer players, and to me even, but it's going to be confusing. What the hell are these for? What do I do with these? A kind of useful thing is they give images of the counters that you need, the markers, with the rules that they're associated with. And there's absolutely nothing that uses this image. Or the fired for that matter, but you know, we see all these all over the place, and that's great. But somebody's got to redesign the countermix for the markers, because they're not in alignment with the game anymore, if they ever were. But I think they were. I think all of those markers had a reason at one point back in the old days, and they just haven't been updated. Anyway, I got to read my engaged rule. No, I know this can't countercharge. I got to do my countercharges. Okay, most of those charges are coming through. 2 of them dropped to shocks. And it's kind of a mixed bag, because I had to move first, so I've got a penalty on my charge. But that seems to go away if you're countercharged successfully. I'm constantly confused and having to correct myself afterwards. I think I've caught it every time. For some reason, you know, I look and I roll here. Oh no, this was right. That was a charge. Let me get the continued attack. Yeah, as to which of these 2 combat tables, there's no good reason for it. It's just sort of my brain doesn't recognize, and I end up stuck and thinking maybe the charge should be on top of the shock. That only makes sense because the scenarios here, most of the combat is being done by the mounted men-at-arms. I ran into a bunch of problems hitting here. Trying to decide. I got a couple of options. I could try to, basically I'm trying to decide whether I want to try to seize a continuity. I don't, because I'm likely to get a free activation before anything interesting happens. So then the question comes over, I think I want to try to, oh, he doesn't have anything in command is his problem. Does he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not quite. I got this in command and that's it. This retired unit is not in command. Well, it doesn't matter whether it's in command because it's retired, and the only way I can activate it, I can do anything with it, is with a standard activation. Not sure what moving these guys forward actually does. Gonna go over here, and yeah, there's no reason to seize command for this. I did consider winding things back with the unsteady troops to prevent this attack and whatnot, but you know, it honestly wasn't that big, and it wasn't that big a blow that I felt like it was that important for me to do. We do not get a continuation, which means we're back over here, and now I have 2 wings that are engaged. Oh, I forgot the counterattack, or the continuing attack. This has to keep going. The defender being disordered just gives a different chart, so I'm at -1 on the attack. Yeah. This normal shock against the disordered unit. I get a 6. That's going to retire this thing. Retiring that. Throw it back here. And that costs 1 of these. I didn't get the continuation. I have the I think activating here makes more sense than trying to finish these guys off. Try to get the edge in the battle here. Kind of exciting is the decision process in this game. It's very gamey and everything, but it's also very exciting. And a lot of times gamey things are exciting. You know, that's why CDGs are so cool, right? Why I was entranced with them for a while. And I still enjoy the good ones. The problem I'm having, and people keep recommending, there's a couple of them that are coming out that I feel like they're going to be more of those, hey, it's like Here I Stand, but it's not going to be really well, here I stand. It's not going to be as well designed. And I mean, look, Virgin Queen, for all I grump about it, or Tanto Monta maybe, for being kind of too complex, at least they're well designed and whatnot. Some of these, I'm like, I have to work so hard that it never gets to that point where they're playable in the same sort of way that like something like Here I Stand is. I'm trying to remember, actually I'm trying to find, I can remember, one is the religious wars in France one is the one in the East Front, and now there's another one coming up. Here's one of them here. Wars of Religion, and then this one is, I don't remember what this is. You know, I think they might both have been games that I asked to have sent to me, and the companies agreed, smaller companies. And I get what they're trying to do. Or similarly, Europe in Turmoil, which I'm not willing to buy this Europe in Turmoil 2 because Compass just doesn't have good quality control. I've lost my, for a while I was into them. But anyway, the gameplay of the ones that are really, really carefully designed and get enough development work and everything is really cool. Just like this is really cool in gaming. I don't know why I went off on that in particular, but anyway, I've been getting these, you know, people are like, are you picking this one up? And I'm like, you know, the subject matter interests me, but I'm not willing to play a half-baked CDG, whereas I'm perfectly fine with half-baked games like EU, right? Where it's like, I don't know, because so much, I think because I can understand what they're trying to do and I can try to tinker around the edges and fix things. You can't fix things with a CDG or with a particularly gamey mechanism of any kind, really. But anyway, where am I? I'm choosing to go with these. I'm a little bit confused because I have a shock marker here. I think I didn't resolve this one, so let me jump back and resolve that. Even though I've made this decision. I've done a lot in there. This was a Defender Disordered Retreat a Hex, which would be like this. So he got to advance, and that would mean he could not get out of, oh, this changes so much. He could not get out of his engaged situation. Fuck. One, two, three. I can pull back this way. 1, 2, 3. I just couldn't go back to where I thought I was. All right. So now I'm disengaged. Just read them all as shocks. I don't want to put extra markers on there. Those three are going to continue attacking. The guys behind the Pavis, I don't want to move them. That fucks their defensive capabilities up. Extent. Oh, these aren't Pavises. They're shield wall. Huh. The guys with the shield wall, it might have made sense to put the flag behind them so that I could rally troops behind that force. I chose not to do that. Again, maybe a mistake. But, it could end up to my advantage, right? So it's like, yeah, I could see making the choice either way at this point. Did not go as well for the Guelphs here. They succeeded with this in killing another mounted man-at-arms, more points there. And getting a continued attack, I want to take another shot at the leader. But the unit that attacked the leader got a bad roll. ended up being flung back, and Guido is dead. Now, I've got to deal with that a little bit. I'm going to cope with that afterwards. That's going to cost some points, and then a replacement gets placed. But I need to resolve this continuing attack that now I'm kind of regretting. Absolutely right to regret it. That was not a great thing, and I got a bad roll, got flung back. I can retreat into enemy adjacent to an enemy, not zones for whatever reason. That gives me continuation chance. I think I have to go up here. Does he want to seize? Again, I'm so tempted never to seize, right? Because it's not. This is kind of ugly if I don't try to seize it. But if I fail at my seizure, I think it generates a free activation. Gotta look that up. Yeah, I had better. Right about that. It's important to know these rules before you play, any particular action. So a free activation causes a problem, which is that these would get a chance to recover. Those got pretty beaten up, mainly by their own activation, not so much by Barbarossa's attack, although he weakened them a bit. I mean, I have basically a 6 in 10 chance of getting a free activation by doing nothing. I don't have much better. This gives me a 6 in 10. This gives me a 7 in, this gives me a 7 in 10. This gives me an 8 in 10. I could improve my chances just a teeny bit to do the seizure, but chances are you don't really want to do it. This is why I felt like the old version wasn't all that exciting, wasn't all that painful. Was the chance of a seizure was low. I think maybe that was the thing. People tended not to do them because the chance was low, and it could give the other guy a huge advantage. So in most cases, you didn't want to do it. And these chits give you a higher chance, but it's still not good enough. So I kind of feel like seizures got changed because people weren't using them, and I'm still very tempted not to use them. The thing is, they are a slight advantage to your chance of getting an activation or whatever. But I can't chance it. I can't chance it. I need to let him, try to get his continuation. And he gets it this time. With pulling out and trying to fight again, I've got him disordered already. So I'm launching a couple of shocks here. I was able to get a charge there. Here I wasn't because he had to continue moving. Actually, he could go 1, 2, 3 is how he had to do that. We've pretty damn near wiped out this wing. It's all retired. I could go destroy it, something like pillaging or whatever, or I could focus back here and give him a chance to recover, but it'll take him a while to recover. I feel like that's the more important. But where do I want to go with my next action? I really need to go here. But this is easier. But I got to take a shot at this. With his low chance, it's not worth that because there's a -1 because I've already had one continuation. So it's only on a 0 or 1. So again, it's not worth wasting a chit. It doesn't give me anything automatic or anything. And so we end up back here with a free activation, and I got to look into what life's going to be like. The points, it's a free activation. At the end of this activation, I have to roll a die. It is possible that Barbarossa has lost the battle already. But it's done after the free activation, which is something I have to try to remember. If I were to do it right now, it would commit me to you know, playing out another sequence of events that I don't know that I have time for, especially since I need to take a dump. Okay, so up here to do another round, I got about a half hour, maybe a little less. And I probably want to grab something to eat and rest at least. But so we're over here with a freebie. I think I need to trigger this, which gets me 3 points back and makes it so that I will not have to make that check anyway. A safe and important thing. Now for my continuation, I could still go with this, try to rally those units. I've got a fight over here that's ugly. I'm going to actually go over here and try them. But I don't get it. We're going to stop there, but I've got some interesting stuff because I probably want to play the battle cry here, which will allow me to remove the retired from this. This unit could rally if I activate him, even though he's out of command. This guy's in command range, I believe. I have trouble remembering the numbers, but the center number is the range, I believe. This is the activation number, and if there's an overall commander, which they no longer have, they lost their overall commander, his bonus is elsewhere. All right, that was nice and quick. I had worries that you know, the game might be over and I have to load it up or something. Because I went to the same place I go dancing for the birthday party thing and had about as much to drink as I would in the same kind of period, which is all my heavy drinks. Actually, I had one more than I normally would. I had 4 decent strength beers and then switched to piss water. But, you know, I definitely had a buzz on, you know, but didn't have the dancing and whatnot. And so the same kind of feeling just wasn't there in terms of like, I don't know, like losing track of the night or whatever. I got a ride home and ended up sleeping for a couple of hours because I thought I could sleep through the whole night, but that did not happen. So anyway, after watching some news and stuff, I'm back up here and gonna play a little bit. A little faint kind of buzz going on down there, but whatever. We're opening up with this wing. I don't know what it is that recovers. I might just want to recover this because kind of want to bring him closer, but it kind of doesn't stop me. Let's play that battle cry. Get that out of the way. Get rid of that retired marker. But here, falling back to recover, well, falling back with one, recovering with others, and I have an engagement here that is to my advantage, so I'll continue with it. And that all went well. We retired. I fiddled with my points because I unretired something and retired something. Okay. I think what I want to do is I want to fire this off. Yes, this is easier to get going, but it doesn't do me much. And this wing does. And again, this is one of the things with this system is that once you kind of start engaging, those guys just fight and the rest of the battlefield, once you have 2 wings engaged, the third wing, or however many you have, tends to not do much. Even though this guy has a lot of advantages on him. Now, do I want to trump? So 40% chance of success with him. I could improve the chances of him not getting it, but again, is it worth firing something off just to prevent that from having the chance? I don't know. I mean, grabbing this would be kind of cool to recover it. I think it is. I think this time it is. I'm going to spend my big one because I have trouble getting rid of these, actually using these. And that's a success, and that's going to swing the activation over here where I want to recuperate this command. And then we fling back with, well, I'm going to choose to try to activate Frederick, but then comes the question of, do I want Frederick to get another activation while I'm here? I don't care. I don't think it's worth spending my chit on that. And that's a failure, so it jumps back here. Going to be recovery and charges down the line. Recovery over here, charges here. Try to break the front of Barbarossa's force. We'll see what happens. Less important or less dangerous charges have been turned into shocks, but this combined charge I was trying to countercharge, it did not work. The countercharge didn't work, so could be bad. Frederick, probably is going to have to make a roll for his survival here. The situation afterwards, got a good for Barbarossa roll where both sides were disordered by the charge. It was a horrible attack because without being able to make the shift in position, I end up facing the +4 for attacking through 2 or more sides. And yeah, one of those die rolls was a good die roll, and then Barbarossa's dead, which he might not actually be dead, right? He might be captured, he might be badly enough wounded, whatever. But that throws this way down to the 2, which means we're really likely to lose the battle, to flee, on the next free activation if we can't figure something out. And there's not a lot to figure out that is going to give us points. The recoveries have been done. This guy just went. Don't particularly care about a free activation, do I? Not really. Could go here, try to pick off more units, get him down to 0, he's just done. Let's go for that. I mean, look, there's an argument to play this, because when am I going to get a better chance? Yeah, but it doesn't really buy me much, so screw it. So that gets me free activation over here. Gotta keep playing, because otherwise I'm in the situation where I was in before, where I might forget that I have to make a die roll on that free activation. So, what's worth activating is really the question. This had a continued attack, by the way, but nowhere to hit. These are not horses. My chance of survival is low. I'm going to grab a point back. And essentially, if I roll, I think a 3 or higher, the battle's over. I had to roll exactly a 3, the number I have to think about that. Yeah, because if I had a marker here, this would be on 17, and 1, 2, 3 would put me to the flight levels. So Barbarossa runs. This is the end of Legnano. And this one, it really came down to, I made the mistake about getting too close where the enemy could charge. I'm usually careful about that kind of thing. It's kind of neat to see it play out so that it wasn't. That really kind of decided the whole battle, was that one little bit of clumsiness. Sure, things could have been overcome. There's a lot of luck in this system, but yeah, it was kind of neat to watch. I don't usually make that kind of mistake and allow it to just play out. But I feel like I should know this system well enough, and others like it that I should have known. Don't get too close with your cav. I'm thinking here. This kind of thing shows up in GBOH, but I think even more so in the musket and pike system. But yeah, it can be pretty devastating in this game. I'll say that much. All right, let's send it up.